I'll just unmute myself there. All right, guys, welcome back to MSTR Mondays. I know the last 3 Mondays I haven't done a show. Apologies for that. Yeah, good morning, James. The first of those Mondays, I had cataract surgery, both eyes. Best thing I've ever done for myself, I think, close to. After that, just so much going on while I was in Denmark. So, and the time difference and everything. But here we are with 2 amazing kid analysts. They're both way younger than me, so I can say that. But we all know that that's meant very endearing. And we're going to have a talk about, I originally have been wanting to get Mason on for months, I think, Mason. I know you can confirm that because I know Mason now is spearheading compared to his age, getting into investing and everything. And I bought my first stock when I was 12. So like I'm seeing some of like my own, like, you know, how I was when I was young then. I love it. I love the tenacity, the professionalism, the rational thinking, the critical thinking. And I just wanted to hear Mason's story. And Mason's like, yeah, I can do it Monday, but can we get Dan on as well? Because we've been working on stuff. And I think that means I'm excited about that because that means we're in for a treat when 2 kid analysts get together and do their thing. Looking forward to hear about that. I'm looking forward to talk markets, to talk tariffs. We obviously have 3 trade and tariff experts in the house here. There's Dan and Mason and my cat over there. And before we actually get started, just to remind everyone that the price of Bitcoin, if that page will load for me, I'm going to jump, is a ridiculously cheap $78,000 in a year where this president of the biggest, richest nation of the world have launched a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We're in the 4th year of the 4-year cycle, which is the most exciting. So get your S together and understand that it's going to be wild. In my opinion, it's not financial advice, it's compassionate advice. And this is not financial advice. Well, I just said that, I guess. It's financial entertainment, if you like the entertainment. Once these guys start talking, obviously, please do go ahead and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I will say also, apart from that, the price of MSTR right now is $270, and the price of the company is measured the market cap is less than 1 million Bitcoin. It's so underpriced. in my opinion. Anyways, that's another story. Welcome, Mason. Welcome, Dan. So happy to have you here, guys. What's on your mind right now?
Well, thanks for having us, first of all. And yeah, like people always think I'm so young. I have this baby face, right? But Dan's only a year older than me, right? Dan, you're
Yeah, not even a
23.
full year. Not even a full year.
Yeah, not even a full year. So I get kind
man.
of treated as this baby, but Dan's also a baby too. I guess we're both the
I
kid
would like
analysts.
to coin the term baby analyst then.
Baby
Yeah,
analyst, yeah. If Jeff is a kid analyst, then we're the baby analyst. But
exactly.
what's on our mind? I mean, so Dan and I haven't really been working on anything. We've just been talking a lot, and I think we've had some really fruitful, interesting discussions recently with all of the volatility and market wildness going on. So I'm just happy to have Dan here to bounce stuff off. Dan, I mean, what's been on your mind lately? I think ultimately it's tariffs, right? And the broader global macro picture going on.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I think I'm not as concerned about the tariffs themselves. They seem, well, I think the tariffs themselves are not great, considering they slow global trade. And I believe Bitcoin will benefit from more globalization and more liquid markets around the world. And I believe it's a way to have banking, cross borders and be native to the internet. So I don't think tariffs are great for that. But I think when you look around at the global macro landscape, you'd be hard pressed to find a different asset if you weren't looking at the price. You looked at the fundamentals of the asset. I mean, where would you be parking your capital if not in Bitcoin or gold? And like maybe gold, but even still, gold, as you're saying, Mason, is so centralized and co-opted. It's like that's not really the place you'd put your capital. So, I mean, Anders, what do you think about that? I know obviously you're a Bitcoin bull, but
Yeah, so like first of all, I will say, unfortunately, I wasn't here for that entire 2016 and 17 bull run. But I was, I mean, I was paying attention about, I think, halfway through. And we had 6 corrections of 30% or more. And right now we're having we're down 32% in an environment where the stock market is falling apart. Like, this is okay. This is completely okay. It's necessary sometimes, sadly, but necessary to get rid of weak hands. They leave because they haven't educated themselves of what they are holding, what they own. And that opens up, it just makes the holding base of Bitcoin so much stronger, because now you only have people back that don't want to sell, right? Which essentially, eventually will push the price higher, because the natural state of Bitcoin is it will go up over time. Why is that? Well, they print more and more dollars. The amount of Bitcoin is fixed, so that it's like it's programmed to go up. So this is I think Bitcoin is doing great in a situation where the stock markets are getting butchered because Trump is ripping off the Band-Aid. I believe that a lot of this is necessary. It's as we were talking about before going live, Dan. He's ripping off all the Band-Aids, in my opinion, and ripping them off hard, and really forcing the American economy to go back and be built up from the ground up. Now, I have also learned through studying economics, but I will question economics, and we also learned Keynesian economics, and big government is good, which I don't agree with. I also learned that tariffs are bad, because generally it means that there's less trade, there's less using that. China is really good at this, US is really good at that, and then we all the countries do what is best that they're world leaders in, and then everyone has the plentiful bounties. The problem is the rest of the world has had a lot of tariffs on America. No one talks about that outside of the people that educate themselves, like people in Denmark. I've seen TV now. It's so messed up, the messages coming through in Danish TV. So I think that that Trump is right when he says that other countries have been taking advantage, and president after president has allowed U.S. to be to lose all its production, right? Like all the production jobs have left United States because we used to let everyone just import cheaply into US while we couldn't sell our stuff. I'm not American, but you know what I mean, to the rest of the world. So I think this is necessary to bring about balance in trade relationship. Trump is putting tariffs that are matching what other countries are doing. It's tough right now. It sucks for our portfolios, but we're down. So MSTR is a proxy, and it moves faster in both direction, which sucks when it's going down. But it's still only like one correction that we had 6 of in 16, 17. I believe that by the end of this year, because he's ripping off the Band-Aid so hard, so fast, it's trade agreements will fall in place. People will, other countries will start reaching agreements with US. We have now free trade agreement with Argentina. Others are coming. And I believe that people right now can't even fathom how amazing your portfolio is going to look by the end of the year. That was a long rant, so let me give it back to you guys. I don't know if you want to jump in on that.
Yeah, let me add a little nuance to the tariff conversation that isn't usually talked about, and this is this idea of Triffin's dilemma, which is the U.S. has been the global reserve currency in the world, and the privilege of that is that you get to export dollars to other countries that import cheap goods. Essentially, we've been printing goods or printing dollars and exporting to the rest of the world for their cheap goods. And what this has done is it's deindustrialized the US. It's crushed the middle class, it's crushed the lower class, and most of the wealth has gone to the 10%, the white collar workers, and it's really the 1% that's really benefited from this system. And yes, it's completely unsustainable. But there's also the fact that fiat itself is a completely unsustainable system, and those two things are intertwined. So Bitcoin to me is just, it's not a hedge against inflation. It's a new system. It's a hedge against the current system. And I think you're completely right. Bitcoin has held up remarkably well in this turmoil. And for MicroStrategy specifically, which I view as leveraged Bitcoin, so it should act even more extremely. In the past 6 months, and I ran these numbers before this show, so 6 months ago, pre-election, since that time, MicroStrategy is up 50%.
You said MicroStrategy. For the people that don't know, the program before, a little game here going on MSTR Mondays. After they change the name, whoever says MicroStrategy is it. And Ben Workman has been it for like 1.5 months. Thank you.
Oh no, I'm it.
You're it. All right, back to you.
So strategy, sorry, is up 50% from that time, while the Mag 7 is down 12%. So that's just remarkable strength. And even year to date, strategy is down today. So it's year to date, it's down 11%, but Mag 7 is down 25%. And this is also, you have to put this into context of 2023 and 2024 were back-to-back years of 350%, right? So I think as strategy investors, as MSTR investors, I've been in this trade since early 2023. We've been absolutely spoiled. And I think something like this, a dip, a 30% correction in Bitcoin, is it 30%? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I don't know. 108 to 78. Maybe it was calculated at
Yeah.
80,000, but it's a ballpark. It's
Yeah.
come on. It's a you know, the correction is they're rookie numbers. We're not down 50%. Like in
Yeah.
COVID, I was watching TradingView and Bitcoin dropped 50% in 8 hours. Like that's a correction. Like it's a correction. Don't get me wrong. Anyways, back to you.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of indicative of the structural change in who holds Bitcoin. We're seeing more and more institutions like Strategy, like the ETFs, and just generally stronger holders, people who have been holding this asset, who have a deeper understanding of it, who have a better education, because there's more resources out there for people, and more discussion around it. And I think this is extremely bullish for Bitcoin. I think eventually when equities bottom, which that may look like Fed intervention or Trump repealing the tariffs, or they staying on and we just find a natural bottom. Bitcoin has had a lower beta on the downside, and I think it will have a higher beta on the upside. And when does that happen? I'm not necessarily sure. So I think in the meantime, stay low over your skis. I, none of this is financial advice, but I think leverage right now is probably a bad idea until we get more clarity and until the market finds a bottom. Dan, do you have anything to add there? Anything I missed?
No, that all makes sense to me too. And the idea of like decoupling is summed up exactly as you said. Decoupling is lower beta on the downside and higher beta on the upside in the short term, and the short term being 1 to 4 years. So, little snippets of what we saw on Friday, little snippets of what we saw today, barring it's after the weekend with low liquidity, are all sort of indicative factors. And the performance metrics that Mason mentioned of Bitcoin being down, less relative to the Mag 7 or on par with the Mag 7 goes to show you kind of the difference in that performance on the upside and downside. And that's all we're going to be looking at over long periods of time, are those incremental differences in upside volatility and downside volatility. And that's decoupling. But decoupling isn't as fun as it sounds. It was fun on Friday. It's not as fun today, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
Mason, you made me realize a thing here with what you were saying. That notification, I had tried to kill it. Sorry. You made me realize one thing, what you're saying here, how MSTR has performed since year to date. And in this couple of things, first of all, in Q1, people need to understand that in general, the rising price in Bitcoin enables MSTR to buy more Bitcoin because it opens up the opportunity for the different types of fundraising that he does. It reduces the leverage, the debt percentage, and Bitcoin going up means MSTR easily can buy more Bitcoin. In a down market, MSTR in Q1 created a BTC yield of 11%. That's awesome because we're going to go back up and then he's just buying more. This is amazing for MSTR. Like MSTR is such a much better investment now, in my opinion. But what the point I wanted to get to with what you said is Max 7 has been going back way more than MSTR. So the point is MSTR still is a growing percentage of overall value in the investment market. MSTR still year to date has been growing its share of investment. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, I think it's held up remarkably well. And yeah, I'm not sure I have anything more to add than I think it's just kind of outstanding. I think it's really interesting that when we were at these lows a few weeks ago, when we went down to 76, MicroStrategy was, strategy was. I'm already it, so I can
You're
say
already it.
I'm already it. Was around 230 to 240, right? And last night we were at 75, and strategy today opened around 260, I believe. And it's, yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, it opened around, around 260. It's been whipsawing around, but yeah, remarkable strength.
Yeah, it's MSTR is doing well. Dan, so what do you think about the fact that MSTR is buying Bitcoin fueled on number go up, but they're stacking even when number goes down? Like,
Yeah, they didn't buy anything last week. Their AK was out
no.
this morning, which was interesting to me because I figured they would have sold Class A shares into the strength, whether it be on Friday or Wednesday, when Trump said he's going to do a flat 10% tariff. There's a ton of strength in the market. I figured they'd sell. They may be keeping cash on the sidelines to pay those, just to pay the dividends on Strike and Strife, because they realize how valuable those yields will be moving forward. If interest rates are going to be dropping and people want that sort of fixed income product, I mean, that's going to be a killer. Like, I think it's a two-part thing. Okay, interest rates are dropping moving forward, and people are starting to slowly identify Bitcoin as an inflation hedge or not necessarily a risk on tech stock. They'll be like, oh, so you're telling me I can get a consistent dividend from a company that's backed by digital gold or what's becoming digital gold. I think that'll be very, very attractive to investors. So they will nail that sort of execution, and they realize how much capital they can raise by issuing those preferred shares into the market. And so for those reasons, maybe they're keeping cash on the sidelines to pay those dividends. What do you think, Mason?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Mason. I'd love to hear your comment instead of mine.
No, just a small thought, which is absolutely. I think those become increasingly attractive when Bitcoin is in strength and equities are looking more and more volatile and more risky. When you're looking for some kind of fixed income product as rates are going down, those are becoming increasingly good looking as an investor who's maybe just uncomfortable in the equity market.
Yeah, actually. So I saw, as always, Ben at Workman is putting out fire wisdom through his tweets. And I retweeted one that I saw this morning. Strife at the time was yielding. Strike. Let's do Strike first. Strike, which also has the built-in call option. Granted, it's very out of the money, but once it's reached, it's going to perform like MSTR, which is pretty cool. Strike pays an 8% dividend on a nominal $100 share. And it's right now, because it's priced, and this is from 1 hour ago or 2 hours ago, priced at $82.98, the Strike stock, it gives an effective yield of 9.64. So that, like, you can go and invest in US Treasuries and get nothing or very little, or you can get 9.5%, and you have a call option on MSTR. That's regarded interesting. Sorry, regarded. We don't. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Strife, which does not have a call option, it is straight up, I think, the most interesting product coming out of MSTR. Strife is just fixed income. There is no call option. So that is what Saylor and the rest of the team are targeting the 300 trillion bond market with. And they have a 10% yield at the nominal price of $100 per share. Because Strife right now is trading at $82, there is an effective yield on Strife on 11.33%. So this is this is I think, an attractive bond, and Bitcoin literally has to completely fail for this not to be backed 100% in terms of the value, because Strife equity holders are first in the stack in case of a potential liquidation. So I don't know, Bitcoin has to go below 5,000 for that to be a problem, and MSTR to fail, but which I don't see happening at all. Strike is next in this stack in terms of in case of bankruptcy. So I think those are very interesting, and personally, I will, like, I'm right now just fully allocated. I don't have anything except MSTR and Bitcoin, and I have most Bitcoin, more than, you know, in terms of budget allocation or percentage wise in my portfolio, and I don't have anywhere near enough. But it is what it is. When I hope to plan to expect to take some profits at the end of this year, especially closing my derivative products on MSTR, because I do believe that we are most likely to have a bear market next year. This is, in my opinion, not a bear market, it's a correction in the bull run. I will use products like these and QQQ as well as a place to park the money that I know I have to pay in tax. Like, I'd like to get 11% or 9% or 10% yield on that cash for the time when I have to pay my my capital gains tax, which, by the way, if you're in financial trouble one way or another, don't have liquid assets, or you don't, if you just challenged, you can actually get a 5-year payment plan with your state and with IRS. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, that's important, tax season.
Yeah. So I like those. I like those, Dan. And also, eventually, I do want to allocate something to that is not Bitcoin related. I've been many years now in only Bitcoin, and you know, for the sake of my own financial stability, I will take derivative products and move it to just more cash equivalent. And I'd like to get some MSTY as well. It won't outperform MSTR, but I'd like to have some of that, and QQQ and maybe some Amazon, and yeah. So I like those products. I think they're attractive. Strike and Strife, I definitely do, for parts of the purpose of your portfolio, like having money set aside safely for tax and other expenses.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that, like, of course, it won't outperform. It will significantly underperform Bitcoin and MSTR, but people have different reasons to hold different investments, and this is a cash flowing instrument, and if that adds stability to your life, I don't see any problem in investing in that, if it gives you peace of mind and allows you to live the life that you want to live. So I absolutely think there's a place for it. Personally, as a young person, I'm not as interested in it. I'm interested in working and having an income that supports my lifestyle while I let my investments increase, at least at this point in my life. Dan, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I think they're pretty good. I know Ben uses them kind of as his cash book, and I would use them in market downturns, because let's say you think MicroStrategy is going to go down or chop for 8 months, 9 months, but you don't believe it's going to become insolvent, right? There's a difference there. You can believe the Class A share price will decrease, the value of the Class A share price will decrease, but you don't believe that the company will become insolvent or go bankrupt. You just think the share price will go down. In that case, I think it's a fantastic product to hold, because you're getting your guaranteed 10% yield. You're also quite confident in your knowledge of MSTR, and you understand the company's not going to go under, but you don't want to be exposed to the equity because you're nervous that the value will decline. Maybe we're at a high multiple and you expect Bitcoin to chop or go down. So you'd be like, oh, okay, I'd be more comfortable in that sort of yield product.
And also, it's even though I think none of us believe in the value of the US dollar long term, we know these smacks in the face the corrections both in Bitcoin and MSTR. And MSTR is straight up part of the product to create that volatility, which is vitality, as Saylor says. The kind of return you can get on your leaps, your call options on MSTR, it might even be advantageous to say, I don't like the dollar, but right now, let's say it's not now, but like as an example, MNAV on MSTR is 3, Bitcoin is pumping. Maybe it's not a bad idea to put something into cash, which could be Strike and Strife. And when there's the next 30% correction in Bitcoin, which has led to a 50% correction in MSTR, buying call options into the future can give very significant returns. This is not advice to do that because that comes with a lot of risk. And Dan, maybe you can tell us about that. But I'm sure all of us here wouldn't mind that if back in November we planted a little bit in cash and then could go back in and buy at these highly regarded low prices.
No, yeah, I think that's a really good point. There is a lot of opportunity during market dips if you believe in the asset. And so there's a huge advantage to holding some cash. And that's something I haven't been as prudent as I should be. Yeah, I've always just kind of been of that mindset, much like it sounds like Mason is, like, I'll just be super long, like I got a long time horizon, who cares? But, you know, you hold 10% in cash, or in our case, cash being Strike or Strive or Strife, it's hugely advantageous because if the equity goes down 40%, I mean, the call options are down 90%. And if you do want to be levered long over a long period of time, then it's a great time to purchase those options.
Yeah. What do you, how are you thinking about that, Mason? Are you considering that it could be worthwhile having a Strike or Strife position at times where the market is super up and we're killing it and everyone's euphoric and laughing in the MSTR community?
Yeah. I think at those points, yes, like selling some call options, but also doing some covered call options. I mean, all this really comes down to what type of individual you are, how tuned in are you, how much information do you have, and what's your time horizon, and what risks are you willing to take, right? These are all factors that we have to think about when we're making decisions like this. Are we traders? Are we investors? And the way that I view it is Bitcoin is my long-term savings, right? Bitcoin and cold storage, no one could take that away from me. And that I'm never really touching. MicroStrategy I view as, sorry, well, I'm already it, but strategy I view as.
I think 3 times the, like in a row,
I have to do like
a hat trick, I think should give you a little orange teddy bear.
Something like that.
But my portfolio being destroyed, I don't know. I need someone to sponsor a little orange teddy bear.
Yeah,
Mason, for saying the word 3 times. Anyways, back to you.
Strategy is an investment as an attempt to over the long term outperform Bitcoin. And then options I dabble in as a way to opportunistically capitalize on asymmetries and market events and knowledge and my own kind of tuning into the market and understanding. And I'm really adverse to holding cash in general. I don't like cash. I'd rather have it be in Bitcoin.
I don't have any.
I do think there are times that, like right now, I wish I had more cash on me. I have some cash, but I could see in the future using those tools, and I think it's just a good option to have, and something that you should keep in your mind as an option to have in the future.
I think, I don't know if people follow supply shocks, and maybe we can bring it up here, but he had a really good chart on the, do you have that chart, Mason? He essentially projected out like a forward growth rate on MSTR in conjunction with the compound annual growth rate of Bitcoin. And I think that's a really good grounding, sort of first principles, like grounding way to think about that investment. And so what he's saying is like, okay, let's assume MicroStrategy or strategy in compounds their Bitcoin stack at 20% annually for the next 5 years, in conjunction with Bitcoin's 30% annual compound growth rate, which could be conservative depending on what happens. And when you model that out, you get to about $5,000 a share in 5 years, if not less. And I think if we zoom out, look at like stable growth rates as opposed to just like bull cycles. Like I find myself looking at these bull cycles, this and the next thing. Whereas like if you're a long-term investor, you're typically looking at like compound annual growth rates. So by projecting those forward, if you have an investment that's compounding at 40% annually, like MicroStrategy seems to be, likely will. It's a risk-on investment, but it likely will continue to do that. You're pretty unstoppable in terms of that compounding effect. So I think people can't lose sight of the long-term compounding nature. And it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to sell the top, this, that, and the next thing. If this cycle showed anyone anything, is that these cycles aren't necessarily, they don't always behave the same. And so right now we're sitting at a point which I believe is propped up by long-term holders, propped up by adoption, and the risk premium has been taken out of Bitcoin. So I do think right now is a great entry. I think it's a fantastic place to look forward. And I think if you do enter Bitcoin at this point in time, you could assume on your stack a 30+% annual compound growth rate for the next 4 or 5 years. And then extrapolating that onto MicroStrategy, you can run your own numbers. But it's important to think about it that way, in my opinion.
Any thoughts on that, Mason?
No, I don't think I have anything else to add to that. Do you have any other topics or anything else you want to discuss?
So the things we've covered so far, well, my original thought was I'd love to hear how you got into investing, like the thinking about it, like the age around it. And since I just learned that Dan is in your ballpark as well, I'd love to, I mean, for everyone, I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
What's the thoughts went into it. So, but then you mentioned that you'd been doing some, chatting back and forth with Dan as well. So I don't know if that was about the tariffs and the long game and MSTR and the pricing, like then actually let me hear one thing maybe. And then I'm a big believer that MNAV is what drives it. I think PE is something that very few people will find relevant when the PE is not based on an ongoing operation, but it's based on the swings in an asset price. I don't ever see MSTR being priced on the PE. I think very few people will go to that. I know it'll be great, sure, right? PE 50, PE 100, and then strategy is worth 21 million Bitcoin. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be an MNAV discussion, and that is just that keeps pushing up the price of MSTR over time, because even in a down market, they're stacking more Bitcoin. BTC yield 11% in a down market. Wait for the up market. We're going to get back to maybe close to the Q4 numbers of 49% BTC yield. So where did I want to go with that? I tend to sometimes sidetrack myself a little bit, Mason. But yeah, no, the PE.
Are you just asking about valuation and what we think of it?
Yeah, let's talk valuation. I think it's
an MNAV for evaluating MSTR.
So I tend to agree with Saylor that MicroStrategy should be valued off of a multiple, but I don't think the market will necessarily agree with that. And so I have my kind of investor hat, which is long-term MicroStrategy is fundamentally undervalued right now, in my opinion, for its ability to increase Bitcoin per share. I think it's undervalued. My trader hat is the market is valuing this based off of MNAV, and it's going to stay within those bounds because people are looking at that as a indicator for when to buy and when to sell, when to go long, when to go short, when to sell covered calls, all of that. And I think it's a kind of controversial discussion, even within
I love
the
it.
MSTR community. And I think it will be really great to see how it changes over the years. But for right now, I just generally take the view that I believe it's undervalued, but at the same time, it will swing within the MNAV framework.
Let me ask you both a question. What's the current PE of MSTR? You don't know, right?
Yeah, it
So how can
depends.
it-
I mean, Ryan did some work on this, and I think he
found 7,
I-
right? I think it was 7. It was
yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on what assumptions you're making, right? And everyone's going to have different assumptions.
What would
So
be the right ones to make?
I think of the forward-looking nature. Like Jeff's thing is always the forward-looking nature of equity markets, and so you can look at like what multiple Semler's trading at right now, and it's a pretty low multiple after their stock got crushed with those allegations from some Justice Department or something. But the reason their multiple got crushed was because the forward-looking expectations on their Bitcoin yield started crumbling. Right? They're like, oh, if they can't ramp up their cash flow, if they're not going to the market, being aggressive with the Bitcoin strategy, then the market's just not going to place that much of a premium on that company. Much like growth companies have a higher PDE ratio than value businesses. But I think in the case of MicroStrategy, it's both the continued clarity and continued evolution and execution of the Bitcoin strategy does justify a higher multiple. And quite frankly, I think that's what we're seeing now. I mean, we should be trading, historically, if history is any indicator, we should be trading at a 1.3 multiple to net asset value right now, just based on the fear in the market, the index prices, and the Bitcoin correction amount, right? If Bitcoin's down 30% and you're in this kind of period, yeah. But right now we're trading at the metrics I use are the strategy metrics online. And I don't think they even subtract out the full debt for their multiple to net asset value. So they're claiming a 1.97 multiple. When you subtract out all of their current debt in the form of convertible notes, it's actually over 2. So that's high, and I think that's really, really bullish. And that's also reflected in the MSTR IBIT ratio, which Mason likes to bring up, and that's climbing. So I mean, something's been going on the past couple of months if you've been tracking it, and I don't know what it is, but either people are positioning in MicroStrategy or in strategy, or they're trying to apply leverage on their Bitcoin position. So because I think there's 2 parts here, right? There's the people who believe MicroStrategy is fundamentally undervalued, right? Okay. Then you've got these people who believe MicroStrategy is a good way to apply leverage when they go out and trade Bitcoin. And for some reason, I think people are bullish on Bitcoin. Traders are bullish on Bitcoin in the short to medium term. Or medium term, and so they're moving into MicroStrategy. And we saw that mass exodus out of MicroStrategy in November once people started taking profits. So it's just 2 sides of the coin.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Dan. I'm interested in that. Or that it is interesting that if you look at history, that the MNAV MSTR should be a bit lower, but it's actually killing it being at this MNAV of around 2. Let me just get the latest number. Diluted MNAV is 1.92. And that there's some bullishness actually going on in terms of the prices keeping up so well. And I know people say, but it's down 50%. Like I said that earlier. Yeah, but they increased Bitcoin per share 49% in Q4 and 11% in Q1. So sure, the price is down, but it's is that the right argument to make? I will leave that I'm going to park that and then go over to you, Mason.
Yeah, I think if you look at the MSTR IBIT ratio at the very peak in November, we got to around 10, and right now we're sitting around 6. And I believe before in September and throughout the summer, we were trading around 3 to 4, right? So if you think about that, we've gone to 3 to 4, then we went all the way to 10, and now we've kind of stabilized around 6. It indicates a fundamental revaluing of MSTR higher, which I believe is very bullish. And I think what happened in November was that was just insane front running and you front running of QQQ, and then just euphoria off of the election, which Trump was supposedly a bullish catalyst for Bitcoin. The maybe clear regulation was
now.
was yeah, and I mean, he still very well could be. I think.
Oh yeah,
I'm really interested to see what happens with the strategic reserve. I think if there's any actual tangible action with that, I think that could be a super bullish catalyst to kind of further the quote unquote decoupling going on here with QQQ. So yeah, I again, I just keep coming back to, yes, we are kind of in the trenches right now. Yes, we are not at $540 a share. Yes, I think people had very high expectations, but I think you have to take it holistically and look at the macro side, look at the equity markets, look at the world in turmoil and chaos and complete confusion and uncertainty, which is generally just horrible for investments, and we are seeing that. But in the face of that, we are doing pretty well. So I think it's okay if people are feeling down, but keep it all in perspective, right? That's usually what I come back to is let's zoom out and think about this in the bigger picture.
And the bigger picture is beautiful, in my opinion, and it's very bullish for Bitcoin. Again, the president of the most powerful and prosperous nation in the world has announced a strategic Bitcoin reserve. That is the final boss, is when they start running the fiat printer, the dollar printer, to buy Bitcoin. That's the final boss of hyper Bitcoinization. Like, the groundwork for that has been laid. Like, what is it that people, like, wake up, this is going to the moon. Like, people tend to be influenced about like current price action right now. I think the only way you can do really well in the world of investing is like understanding, well, what is the framework now? What are these different assets? Where will this eventually have to go? SBR in United States of America, yeah, Bitcoin is going to the moon and Mars and then going to leave the solar system. Don't be weekend selling at $75,000 per Bitcoin. Like, there was people selling Bitcoin at 75,000. Otherwise, it wouldn't have traded. It traded there. There's people selling right now at these prices. We're definitely, I mean, it's such a bullish setup. Yes, I understand with macro and tariffs and the market's down. Yeah, that's like short term, but so important. So I think we all said that during this stream, that to think long term.
Yeah, I think it's important to if you're a Bitcoiner, I think you have a belief that Bitcoin is fundamentally undervalued and that the market and the globe essentially is mispricing it. And what's kind of comforting to me is I'm seeing all these equity investors who are really nervous because maybe have this gut instinct that maybe these tech stocks are overvalued. Maybe we are trading at all-time high multiples. Maybe maybe this is a little bit of a bubble. Whereas in Bitcoin, I think fundamentally, you don't have that same nervousness because you know that it's mispriced. You know that it's going to be higher in the future in terms of government printed pieces of paper.
Yeah. What you have some comments on that, Dan, or and if not, we can we can move along to so if there's anything you want to say to that, Dan. No, I am still curious, Mason, but also really you, Dan, and I think about everyone, like what train of thought got you guys into starting to invest,
Yeah, let's wrap
and
it up
when?
with some backstory. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll start if that's okay. Um, my mother was a stockbroker early on in her career, in her life, and so she had some background in the equity markets. And when I was 12 years old, she opened up a uh, U what is it, UTMA account, which is basically, it was my account that she had custody of, but she let me kind of pick the stocks and kind of experience uh, what it's like to have a stock. And then she taught me about what stocks are. And yeah, so my first stocks were like Wendy's. I bought at like $9 a share, and Walgreens I bought, around like $10 a share or something. Both those are awful, but I think Walgreens is out of business, in fact. But the point was, early on in my life, when I was around fourth or fifth grade, like 11, 10, 11, 12 years old, she introduced me to the stock market, and I became pretty fascinated with it. And I think I was always pretty fascinated with money, kind of had an entrepreneurial streak in me. And so as I became older, as I became a teenager, I started to have more and more control and more sway in that account, and actually made some really good picks, just because I think I intuitively saw kind of the importance of, as Saylor says, digital tech monopolies, right? Things that are kind of eating our life, like the iPhone. So, buying Apple in 2015 or 2016, right? That's when Warren Buffett bought, and it's had a crazy run since then. And Tesla, and just mostly having some really good picks. And then when COVID happened, the markets crash, and I was locked in my house for a year. And I got interested in crypto more broadly. And I think I went down on the Coinbase list, and I bought like all of them. I bought like all of them. And that was in 2020. And actually those did very well. But then around that time, I found Michael Saylor, and generally went down the maximalist rabbit hole. And what kind of really did it for me at the time was just kind of the complete detachment of the equity markets from Main Street, which it didn't really make sense to me. Stocks were going at all-time highs while the economy was literally grinding to a halt. And so I kind of questioned whether or not this was fundamental value, or was this just asset inflation via monetary debasement. And I kind of came to the conclusion that it was. And then I figured out that Bitcoin was the fastest horse. And then I learned more and more about it, and eventually became a maximalist. Came to Bitcoin, and then early 2023, kind of at the bottom of the bear, I became really fascinated in MSTR as an opportunity. And it's been history ever since then, because it's been more and more interesting throughout the months and years. And I think it will continue to be interesting.
I agree. I got family members into MSTR back in 2021 for the reasons of for mainly really just it's a Bitcoin ETF with a positive compound interest. I do like that. These people, I feel, weren't ready for handling self-custody, cold storage, technology, hardware, freaking different wallets, running a node, all of this. just like, let's get you into some MSTR so you have Bitcoin that way. Wow, that turned out to be pretty good. I didn't get any myself because it's far away, can't really reach it, and all of that, and like, you know, self custody and all. But then in September last year, when MSTU had just gone out, like, oh, that could be fun to try some of that. Like, now I have to, because I believe that MSTR will kill it from September last year until maybe October this year. So that got me to buy a little bit of MSTR and a little bit of MSTU. And yeah, what a roller coaster with MSTU. It went from, I bought at $3.90, it went to $31. And all that way up, I did constantly sell, because I have a limit percentage wise that I will only allow it to reach of that little, you know, MSTR related portfolio, Fidelity broker account, and then bought MSTR with it. So that's been good, but obviously it's hammered right now, almost down to where I bought it, from $31.50 back down. So here we go again. I'm out ranting on a sidetracking myself. What was the last point you were making, Mason? I'm sorry.
I forget now.
Yeah, okay.
Should we turn it over to Dan?
Yeah. I think it'll come back to me. Dan, what about your fascinating, Mason? I'm so glad to hear it. It's awesome. I love that, and I just have to say, you describing yourself as like always being interested in money, entrepreneurial, getting stocks at that time. I see so much of myself in that. And that's why I really wanted to have you on here. And also just to give you some more mic time than when you have, you know, 10 smart minds on the screen at MSTR True North. Dan, what about your investing story?
I didn't start as young as Mason. I started when I was a teenager, but I I invested in index funds for, I figured, I read a bunch of books about investing. And so I was investing in index funds. I used to paint houses in high school. I was on a house painting crew. So I saved that money, invested in index funds. And I used to work on boats. And so save that money, invest in index funds. And then I learned about Renaissance Technologies, Jim Simon's hedge fund that's been doing 64% a year since 1984. And I was using the compound interest calculator to figure out, what could I, how much money would I put in and how rich could I be if that continued? And the numbers get very, very staggering very, very quickly. And so I just couldn't. Then there was like mental dissonance, cognitive dissonance. I didn't understand how one man in his prop shop could return 65% annually for 40 years, whereas the index funds are returning 8%, 9%. And so that forced me to look to find something else that had a higher compound annual growth rate. And I ultimately settled on Bitcoin during the bear market of 2022. And then it was explained to me, who explained it to me? I was working as a tour guide on a big cruise boat, and the bartender used to be a cop, a Providence cop. He actually had a hit put on him by Pablo Escobar himself when he was taking down the drug cartels in Fall River, Mass. And so he was a real badass, but he had bought Bitcoin at, I think, $400.
Wait, did you say Pablo Escobar put a hit on this guy?
Yeah. He was the real deal.
Wow.
He ultimately introduced me to Bitcoin. He was a martial arts instructor in the Vietnam War, and then he ran an international trade business between Dubai and the U.S. And then finally, he was a motorcycle cop, and then a detective that was charged with taking down all the cocaine that was being brought through Fall River, Mass. And so he down. Yeah, it was a big operation.
Hat off for that bad boy, man. What a legend.
Yeah,
teaching martial arts in the Vietnam War and then just going from battle zone to battle zone since then. Wow, that's a wild story.
And he always asks me,
alive?
He's alive. Yeah, we talk quite frequently. I mean, he just holds those Bitcoins. Like, I mean, it goes to show you, if you think differently about the world, it really helps you adapt that kind of Bitcoiner perspective. And so I think he's got a unique story. So he was able to he didn't trust the system, and Bitcoin kind of presents itself to those sorts of individuals.
Right. So, that's That's a great story. You got to say hi to your friend and tell him that I tipped the hat for him. That's
Absolutely will.
He sounds like a really cool dude. Would love to drink a beer with him one day. Definitely not race drink it with him because I don't think I'll be able to keep up with this guy. So just to explain why when I heard about your story, Mason, and some of it, a little bit of it, that's why I wanted to hear more now. But on MSTR, True North, it was because I was seeing some of myself in that. From a very early age, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, was also very interested in money, and I had in my mind like I very much don't want people to hold authority over me. I am sovereign. Is Dan? Are you guys texting? Because I can see you're smirking, Dan. But no, okay, never mind. Back on track. So I thought myself that I will. I want to be financially independent. That was my thinking. And I think, well, the only way I can become that is through creating a company and scaling it and work hard and be successful. I've tried that many different times. First time I was 10 years old, I started, I printed some flyers for window cleaning, and I was cleaning windows for people in the neighborhood I live for $5. For $5, I would clean all your outside windows. I was 10, so it was good money for me. And then I started buying stock when I was 12 years old. I bought one stock. I made, I think, 20% in 3 weeks because also there was the dividend. And then I exited. And then still I had this belief that I will achieve my sovereignty and independence, and no one will hold power over me through starting and running businesses. I had an online media agency in Dubai. I started in 2008. I had that until I moved here, and then it kind of falls apart. But at the age of 40, I realized, like I said to myself, Anders, you moron, like this your whole life, you've been doing great in investing. You've been taking that money and putting it into companies because you think that's the key to independence. And then I realized, well, let me stop selling my winner and buying my loser and just focus on investing, because it's something that I've done traditionally well with. I went all in Yahoo in October 97, and I'm guessing this is before you guys were born, right? I took everything I had. I was at my bachelor's in business school. Put everything I had into Yahoo stock and wrote it up 27x and wrote it all the way down again because of the Danish tax rules. I'm like, it's overpriced, but I don't want to incur that 60% tax. So let me just sit this one out. But you don't sit out a .com bubble blowing up. But yeah, anyway, so that's just wanted to add to that. But since I turned 40, my focus has been on investing, and I am not a good, like, I can get ideas for businesses, but I'm not a good CEO. I'm not a good operations. I'm more so I'm not doing that again. I may continue to throw parties because that people have given me good feedback on, but that's it. You guys have you weren't in Santa Monica for that.
I had a fantastic time. I guess we didn't meet, but or maybe
but
we
yeah,
did.
You didn't come to my party though, because I had a party.
I did.
Oh, you did?
It was at that bar, right?
I didn't know you yet. Yeah. Was that not a cool? Was that not a good?
It was so cool. I thought it was a fantastic event.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no,
Mason, what were you doing? Why didn't you come to the party?
He's being a college student.
Yeah, I'm in school. I had class.
I had class Friday night.
Trust me. I had some FOMO. I wanted to be there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
You know,
I might get back. So I'm going to Vegas next month for the Bitcoin Magazine conference. I'm not doing any events there. I had my hands full since the last one. But I probably will get back on to throwing pleb parties and then that's where you can get the ticket. And if people sign up for the news, like the email, those are the people that first will know about the highly regarded cheap tickets, because you do want to just like get a great base of momentum. And the way you pay for that is you make tickets really retarded cheap, to say it as it is, to begin with. And I think so. Hopefully what you experienced, Dan, was that it was the crowd that made the party a good experience. The people you met there, you could speak to, because that's what tends to be the case. That it's really like good Bitcoiners, and there's some pretty big names there as well. Like Michael Saylor came to the second pleb party that I organized, which was on a rooftop in South Beach, Miami in 23. Saylor showed up, right? So it's usually an interesting crowd. Don't miss it, but yeah, no guarantee. But I am thinking I might get back on the game of hosting a good party for people.
So, Anders, are you coming to Orlando?
No, I'm not. So, okay. Unfortunately, I was planning to. I would love to be there. I have giant FOMO about it, but I have a niece that is getting confirmed in Denmark early in May. I can't make that happen without having giant jet lag when I arrive in Denmark. And my sister has made the mistake of making me Toastmaster, and then she's going to regret that. Her and her husband, they're going to highly regret that. I'm going to have fun with it. So I'm unfortunately missing out. Giant FOMO. What about you guys? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think we're full force.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and yeah, the event sold out in like a day, so it's pretty crazy.
You guys are doing a full day, right, of a satellite event before it starts. Like, I want to be there so bad. Like, please tell people about it. Is it already sold out or what? Like, use this as an opportunity to show it.
Yeah, sure. I think it's sold out right now. There is some talk about adding more tickets. If there's interest, you can go to the MSTR True North website and you can add a comment that you're interested. I think the more interest that we get, the more likely it is that we'll add more. But yeah, it's going to be a day where I think Dan's giving a keynote, Ben's giving a keynote, Jeff's giving a keynote. And I'm mostly just excited about meeting the other people who are fascinated by this phenomenon, which is strategy and Bitcoin. And I think it will be a great time. But I think luckily it will be recorded. So I'm not sure when or if we'll release it, but I think there's a high probability that we will. So I wouldn't feel too bad.
And exactly what you just said, Mason, is what has been my experience since I went to the first Bitcoin conference for myself in 21. It's about meeting the people. It's getting together in person and having FaceTime with like-minded souls. That is amazing. Like the friendships and everything. It's really, really an awesome experience. That's what it is mainly for me. It's getting together with the people. And just back to the pleb parties I've organized. That's very much been with that in mind. Like, I don't create a nightclub experience. That's not what we want. We want to have a foundation for being able to connect with our existing friends from X and make new friends. And that's what's been happening every time. And that's where the gold is at /Bitcoin. Dan, give me your shell. So you're doing a keynote there. What are you going to be talking about? Options?
I'm just talking about derivatives. Yeah, derivative products on MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. I was going to compare the relative sizes of the derivative markets, how they affect the price, and kind of how people can use them advantageously. I'm pretty excited, quite frankly. I think it's going to be a blast. We'll definitely miss you, but I mean, not to rub it in.
No, I appreciate that. That's a very kind thing of you to say. So I appreciate it. Like, It's the FOMO definitely is hard because I haven't in person interacted that much with the MSTR community yet. I met Jeff and Ryan came to my party in Santa Monica, and it was great to meet them in person. I had started, watching the Quant Bros there, and asked them if they would come on, because I said I'm going to start. Would like to say that I launched before MSTR True North one day before. But I mean, we're all here in the same boat, wanting to share our ideas with the world and learn from each other. So that's all good in the hood for sure. Obviously, I think everyone can understand that I'm being sarcastic here, but it was great to meet Ryan and Jeff, and then say, hey, you guys want to come on? Because I want to start a YouTube show on MSTR. And one of the reasons, by the way, that but my point is, since then, I have not been together, and I would love to be at your guys' event. That's going to be so high signal, and it's going to be amazing to hang out with those people. Like like if you had tickets now, I'm helping you selling it, because it's going to be phenomenal. I know that from other experiences. And so big FOMO on that. One of the reasons also I wanted to start it, the MSTR Mondays that you guys are watching right now, and thank you to 2,000 people for watching live, most on X as usual, but apparently no chat is coming through on X. So I think that the chat on X might not be happening today, and since majority are watching there, that's why the chat is not being very live. It is working on YouTube, but it's not a lot coming through. But one of the reasons I'm like, I want to start MSTR content is seeing some of my Bitcoin toxic maximalist, anti-scams, anti-the Fed, like anti-F, anti-cripple army, aka XRP, etc.
Cripple army.
Sorry?
Cripple army. I'd never heard that one before.
Well, now you have. I made it.
Yeah.
I came up with that. Like, I've used that a little bit early. It's just good. And then there was the self-announced Link Marines. No one's hearing about them anymore. Yeah, you guys ever heard of Link Marines? No. Yeah, because all these scams, they come and they go. They die. There we go, Scottish hodler. But seeing some of my fellow toxic Bitcoiners being anti-MSTR after having been positive from August 2020, right? Then last year, MSTR really started outperforming Bitcoin, and they missed the boat, or maybe they didn't. Some had even some investment, like, but started hating on MSTR for outperforming, and now all of a sudden, well, what about this? What about that? And centralization is. And I just thought that it's a wrong way of looking at it, and I think that MSTR is helping the world big time by speeding up hyper Bitcoinization, because they're buying and not selling. What does that do? That brings the price of Bitcoin higher, faster, and what does that do? That brings about hyper Bitcoinization faster, which is great for humanity. So I think it was to like taunt back my friends and saying, you don't like MSTR? I'm going to do a weekly show on it. And I will then, obviously, together with great minds like you guys that I have on as guests, explain why MSTR not only is an interesting investment, but also good for Bitcoin. Would you guys agree on that? Or do you think that we're being selfish and we're hurting Bitcoin, as someone has told me?
Well, we have to wrap up in like a few minutes here, but
class. Gotta go to class.
Yeah, I'll just leave it with a message to your, no, not even a message to your friends. I think I completely agree. Having these spaces to hear other points of view is really important, and I think people who are skeptical of strategy, they should they have the right to be skeptical, and they also have the right to investigate it. And I think that's the service that we're offering, is sharing our perspective and the knowledge and the thought that we've put into studying this company and kind of the consequences of it and all the different specific mechanisms within it. So yeah, I feel really thankful that I can share. And I think generally Bitcoin is going to win. It's going to take the path it takes, and I don't think anybody can stop anybody from using it, or using it in the way that they want to use it. So I don't really get the criticism of criticizing MSTR for buying Bitcoin. I think it was bound to happen. If you think Bitcoin's going to eat the world, this is how it's going to happen through this. I see it as a speculative attack, and I think it's just kind of this inevitable thing that was bound to happen at some point, and it manifested through strategy. So yeah, I think really exciting year ahead, and I'm excited to keep watching.
You know, Mason, what you just said, this is how we do it, or this is how it's done. I can't remember your exact words, because that made me realize which song I'm gonna play as one of the outro songs. I played music all the time when we did Spaces, Toxic Happy Hour, me and Puppy. Would play like 10 songs throughout as a minimum, I guess. So, but you put Montel Jordan in my mind. This is how we do it. That's gonna be one of the songs playing. And hey, so if you gotta go now, or you gotta go in a second, if you want any final words, or I don't know how long you have.
Well, let's give Dan a chance to say some final words, and then we'll wrap up.
Yep. Yeah, I have my only final words are thanks for having us, Anders. It's been good as always. Really looking forward to meeting you this summer in person and talking more. I think this is good for the world. I mean, Josh Mandel's got a really good perspective on how strategy is distributing the ownership of Bitcoin from the hands of the few to the hands of the many via the equities market and pension funds and retirements. So I think it's good for the world, and we'll see how it all plays out.
But where do we meet this summer? I'm happy to hear that, Dan.
Vegas, I think.
Oh, you coming to Vegas?
Yeah. I was thinking I wasn't going to, but I probably will.
I guess May is gonna feel like summer. I just figured like summer would be like starts in like around June or something. But no. But okay, that's cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. Did you get like the entertainment pass? Like there's a pass for event, like side events that they're doing themselves. It's not like it's the official things. Like, but there's some. I know there's some thing happening at a nightclub. There's some daytime pool parties, and sounds good to me. You know, I got that package. You got some of that?
I don't have any of that, but I will have to. I'll do some.
I'll see you at the conference itself.
Okay. So,
perfect. Guys, thank you so much for Dan coming back for, I think it's a third time, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and Mason, finally I could get you to come on and share that your story, which I really wanted to hear. So appreciate that. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you for taking the time to help share your wealth of wisdom with people that are listening in and can listen in for free. It's awesome. I mean, the internet is great, and it also allowed Bitcoin to be invented. So thank you both very much for being here. I'd love to have both of you back. And it doesn't have to be Mondays. I do want to pump out more content, and I do owe for the last 3 weeks. So if you guys, honestly, Dan, Mason, if you get an epiphany on Wednesday and like, Anders, like, I'd love to share this or talk to you about it. We'll schedule a MSTR on Mondays on Thursday. All right. So that's an open invitation to you guys. On that note, I will play Don't Leave Yet if you're a viewer. You guys can bounce anytime, but I will play some outro music because finally I figured out. I just had to download Chrome instead of Safari. I can now also share screen and play some music. So thank you so much, guys. Stay safe out there. And MSTR is phenomenal.
Yeah. All right.
And thanks for having us, man.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks for having us, Anders. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
You got it. You can stay and enjoy the music, or it's up to you guys.
Okay, I gotta run, but
All right, see you then.
This is how we do it.
If you're down and out because the market is down, maybe you were exposed.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side, so I reach for my 40 and I turn it up. Designated driver, take the keys to my truck. Hit the shop cause I'm faded. Honey's in the streets, say money, yo, we made it. It feels so good in my hood tonight. The summertime skirts and the guys in canine. All the gangbangers forgot about the drive-by. You gotta get your groove on before you go get paid. So tip up your cup and throw your hands up and let me hit a party. Say, I'm kinda buzzed and it's all because this is how we do it. South Central does it like nobody does. This is how we do it. To all my neighbors, you got much flavor. This is how we do it. Let's flip the track, bring the old school back. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. All hands are in the air and wave from here to there. If you're an OG Mac or a wannabe player, you see the hood's been good to me ever since I was a lowercase G. But now I'm a big G. The girls see I got the money, $100 bills, y'all. If you were from where I'm from, then you would know that I gotta get mine in a big black truck. You can get yours in a 6-4. Whatever it is, the party's underway. So tip up your cup and throw your hands up and let me hear the party say, I'm kinda buzzed, it's all because this is how we do it. South Central does it like nobody does. This is how we do it. To all my neighbors, you got much flavor. This is how we do it. Let's flip the track, bring the old school back. This is how we do it. I'm kinda buzzed, it's all because this is how we do it. South Central does it like nobody does. Nobody does. YNB, SCC. This is how my homies. I'll never come back on an old school track. This is how we do it. Check it out. Once upon a time in '94, Montel made no money and life show was slow. And all they said was 6'8" he stood. And people thought the music that he made was good. They lived the DJ and Paul was his name. He came up to money, this is what he said. You and OG are gonna make some cash. Sell 1 million records and we're making the dash. Oh, I'm buzzing the club. This is how we do it. South Central dancing like nobody does. This is how we do it. To all my neighbors, you got much flavor. This is how we do it. I'll never come whack on an old school track. This is how we do it. I'm kinda buzzed, so because this is how we do it. South Central dancing like nobody does. Nobody does. Oh, it's party time. This is how we do it. Straight up coming from the west side. This is how we do it. Oh, she's got the flavor. Yeah. This is how we do it. And money does it like nobody
All
does.
right, guys, it ain't over. It ain't over. Please don't go. Just please don't go.
Please don't go.
I'm talking about Toxic Tapia, puppy shout out, brother,
I love you so.
brother.
And I want you to know that I'm gonna miss your love the minute you walk out that door. Please don't go. 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 Please don't go.
I'm serious about. I don't want you to go. I really don't. Music is mucho importante, and that's why
I love you.
I love you. Doing Kama version. Let's go. Still watching? Man, it's 2,100 watching an ad. Wow. Like music. So these songs here is what I used to play always as outro when Poppy and I, an ex that couple of comments, and we used to do Poppy Happy Hour. We started Poppy Happy Hour in the summer of 2020 on YouTube, and then we went Faces about a year later. And I always had fun playing some good tunes, and we had a set intro, one song, we had a set outro of 3 to 4 songs, so I don't know how set that is, but you know what I mean. I want you guys to enjoy that. Yeah, we're pretty much the end of the show. MSTR on Mondays, episode 16, with the legendary baby analyst, as they were dubbed today, Mr. Mason and Mr. Dan. Legends. Your own right. Young guns. But this is the end of the show. The guests have stepped out, and we do an outro. I'm happy. I do.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend, the end of our elaborate plans, the end of everything that stands, the end, no safety or surprise, the end, I'll never look into your eyes again. Can you picture what will be so limitless and free, desperately in need of some stranger's hand in a desperate land? Lost in a romance, wilderness of pain, and all the children are insane. All the children are insane. Waiting for the summer rain, there's danger on the edge of town. Ride the King's Highway, baby. Weird scenes inside the gold mine. Ride the highway west, baby. Ride the snake, ride the snake to the lake, the ancient lake, baby. The snake is long, 7 miles. Ride the snake. He's old and his skin is cold. The West is the best. The West is the best. Get here and we'll do the rest. The blue bus is calling us. The blue bus is calling us. travel where you taken us. The killer awoke before dawn. He put his boots on. He took a face from the ancient gallery and he walked on down the hall. He went into the room where his sister lived, and then he paid a visit to his brother, and then he walked on down the hall, and he came to a door, and he looked inside.
This is funny. Viewer numbers on YouTube expectingly declining.
Father, yes son,
live
I want
view.
to kill you.
But on X, it's growing. That's funny, but it's
Mother,
good music. Do it.
I want to. Come on, baby, take a chance with us. Come on, baby, take a chance with us. Come on, baby, take a chance with us and meet me at the back of the blue bus. Do not blue rock on that blue bus. Do not, come on, yeah. Come on, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Come on, baby. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. All right. This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end. It hurts to set you free, but you'll never follow me. The end of life. this is the end.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for days of old lang syne. We twa here on about the braes and put the gowans fine, but we've wandered many weary fet since days of old lang syne, and we twa pedalled in the barn frae morning sun till dine, but seas between us braid he rode since days of old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for days of old lang syne. And surely you'll be your pine stoop, and surely I'll be mine, and we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne. And there's a hand, my trusty fear, and gaze a hand o' thine, and we'll take a recht get well walked for old lang syne. For old lang syne, dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for enjoying the music. I can't believe that the viewer numbers actually have gone up on X here in the meantime. But yeah, thanks for listening. It was a great chat with Mason and Dan from the amazing MSTR True North, talking about our current situation with both tariffs, the markets being down, MSTR obviously, investing story of these two young guns, smart young minds, and yeah, finally figured out how to play music here. I was using Safari before, and then I could not share screen in that on this Restream platform. Downloaded Chrome, and now we're running. So I am once again playing the intro and outro music that I used to play on Toxic Happy Hour with my good friend Puppy, and that's fun. So you guys, thanks for watching. Have a great Monday, a great week, and a blessed weekend. Life is good. God is good, and Jesus loves you. He died on the cross, the most torturous, painful death. This is the belief of Christianity, right? That I'm sharing for those who don't know. He paid the ultimate price of torture and death, painfully so, in a way that the Romans wouldn't even do to their own citizens, because of what he said and what he claimed to be. And the purpose of that was, we're all sinners. No one is sin-free. Only one man was sin-free, lived a sin-free life, and that was Jesus. So that was God's way of saying, I'm going to pay the price for all of you. I created you. I'm telling you what you can't do. That happened with Moses and the 10 Commandments, and all of us are failing. But I'm gonna give you my one and only son, and he will be tortured and killed to pay the price for your sins. All you have to do is look into it and believe, have faith, believe that Jesus was the Son of God, and then the price is paid for you. The tap, I take it, my son took it, and you get access to eternity in paradise. So on that note, enjoy.